As America goes to the polls, we have a little slice of normal life in Monday Night Wrestling, because when there's all kinds of changes happening around you, it's nice to have something familiar. In this show's case, possibly too familiar. Let's talk about it. This is Raw Graded. Raw opens with the WWE Champion Randall Keith Orton. He says he is the best. Not because Triple H chose him, but because he is simply the best. He's no longer the legend killer, he is the legend. And he throws out the challenge to anyone in the back to come and challenge him on that. Enter Alexa Bliss, who heads out to the ring, smiles sweetly, and all of a sudden the screeching of Bray Wyatt fills the Thunderdome, and Randy Orton's bracing himself for a fight with the Fiend, doesn't brace himself for a Claymore, boom, there's Drew McIntyre, big Claymore to the face, and off he goes. Miz and Morrison make an appearance, Miz with the Money in the Bank briefcase, looks as if we're going to get a cash in, then Drew McIntyre doubles back and just throws them both out of the ring. Thanks for coming, guys. No cash in for you tonight. B for the opening of the show. Randy's great on the mic. The Fiend twist, the bluff was cool. We nearly had a Money in the Bank cash in as well. That caught me off guard. Still feels a bit... we're reaching that point now. Randy Orton's been great on the mic all year, but this feels very samey, and looks like we're heading straight to Randy and Drew with a Bray Wyatt on the side of it as well. Just feels a bit the same, but what they did was good. Miz and Morrison are livid about Drew McIntyre sticking his oar in, so they're challenging him to a handicap match later on tonight, and that will be our main event of the evening. Then we move into more in-ring action. Elias about to grace us with an acoustic version of Amen. Instead, we get the music of Jeff Hardy, and we have our guitar on a pole match between Elias and Jeff Hardy. A pretty standard match, this one, to be honest with you. Elias threw his bar stool at Jeff Hardy at one point to take the lead. He wears him down with some rest holds, but Jeff comes back with a Hurricane Rana and a Twist of Fate, climbs up to retrieve the guitar, and kabongs Elias on the back for the 1, 2, 3. And that's the match. That's the match. Giving it a C+. It was good. It wasn't great. There's something about these two. I'm not feeling the chemistry here. And the finish just sort of came out of nowhere a little bit. It was fine. Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax are defending the Women's Tag Team Championships against Dandy, Dana Brooke, and Mandy Rose. Lana makes her way out to watch this one up front. The challengers get quite a bit in here, actually, on Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, after they eventually double team Nia Jax to bring her down, that is. We see Shayna getting in there, trying to turn this thing around. She, one point, goes out of the ring to grab Lana. She ends up getting baseball slid for her trouble. Baszler goes to get the clutch in on Dana Brooke. Dana manages to fight out of it, but in the midst of all of this going on, Lana's jumped onto the ring apron, and Shayna pushes Dana into Lana. So, boof, there goes Lana. Dana bounces back into the clutch. Tap out. The champions retain. Nia Jax is livid that Lana stuck her nose in, so they're having a match later on as well. This was a C-. This was just... it was fair to middling. Wasn't particularly astonishing, this one. I just didn't really warm to it. I'm not warming to Dandy as a team, to be perfectly honest with you. And Jax and Baszler were okay here. They've had better outings, and yeah, C- is what it's getting. R-Truth is out. He's coming to get his water bottle signed by Bobby Boucher. Turns out he's got it wrong. He's not meeting Bobby Boucher. He's fighting Bobby Lashley. Oh, R-Truth, when will you learn? What? R-Truth lies down immediately and says, hey, look, just pin me if you want. As Lashley goes to, Truth gets a couple of strikes in, ends up eating a spear, gets put in the hurt lock. Down he goes. Drew charges out after a second Nelson from The Simpsons on Truth to try and become the 24/7 champion. Lashley goes, nah, puts him in the hurt lock, gets him nice and tight in there, then drapes him over R-Truth, and Drew Gulak becomes the 24/7 champion that way. Okay. Giving this one a C. It was again, just not much to this one. It was I'm ready to refresh this 24/7 division because it just seems to be R-Truth and a cast of characters just running around each other, and this match was a bit meaningless. AJ Styles is out with Big Jordan, his bodyguard. He's talking about how brilliant he is as the captain of Team Raw. He welcomes his teammates out, Sheamus and Keith Lee. They're not going to call him captain. Braun Strowman then comes out and says, I want to be on the team. They squabble because Braun hasn't qualified. Adam Pearce comes out to stand there and, I guess, attempt to look pretty because he doesn't really bring anything to this bit. It's actually AJ Styles that says, tell you what, why do you have a triple threat match? Why do we do Braun Strowman versus Keith Lee versus Sheamus? And if Braun wins, then Braun's in the team. And Adam Pearce says, yeah, let's do that. I don't know why Adam Pearce couldn't set that up. It felt strange AJ setting it up. Didn't know what happened there. So we get ourselves an impromptu big beefy boy triple threat match between Keith Lee, Braun Strowman and Sheamus. Keith busts out a diving senton onto Sheamus and Braun. Braun also gets completely beefed by the steel steps at one point, but he comes back with a diving crossbody through the barricade on both the other lads. There's just destruction around the ring early on. Sheamus hits a very impressive white noise on Braun Strowman, and Keith Lee, not to be outdone, is at the bottom of the Tower of Doom featuring Shamo and Braun as well. That looks incredible. And then from here, their hits just get heavier. Just a proper heavyweight clash here with big lariats thrown, strong strikes thrown at one another. The end comes when Sheamus ends up blasting Lee with a brogue kick, and then he doesn't get a chance to pin Keith because Keith is too near the ropes. Braun takes advantage with a power slam onto Sheamus for the 1-2-3. AJ Styles gets into the ring after the match. Now, Braun is part of the team. He tries to get everybody to shake hands, and Braun and Keith shake hands. And then Braun and Sheamus hug. But then Sheamus lands a brogue kick on Strowman. In response to this, Keith Lee attacks Sheamus. And then AJ Styles drop kicks Keith Lee out the ring while screaming, why can't we all just get along? Giving it a B, some slightly ropey mic stuff at the beginning led into quite a slow start for a big boy match. And then by the end, they were just dropping bombs on one another. So I don't want to give it an A because I think it would have been good all the way through if it was. This was a slow burner. I enjoyed it. It was a B. But Keith Lee continues to feel a little bit lost in the land of the giants here. Like, I love how they're keen to use Keith Lee, but I don't think they quite know how to use Keith Lee. He feels a bit lost in the shuffle, I think. Angel Garza is whispering sweet nothings to a lucky woman in the WWE universe. Then we hear from Drew, who promises to make Randy Orton's life a living hell until he gets his rematch. Oh, and he's got 2 Claymores being cooked up for Miz and John Morrison as well. Off to the Firefly Funhouse we go. Abby drops a swear word. Attitude Era coming back. Bray Wyatt says that he's happy to forgive for what Randy Orton did, burning down the Wyatt compound, but he does not forget. And then Alexa Bliss shows us her new party trick where she makes her tongue really long. Cool. That's whatever. That's fine. Nia Jax and Lana one-on-one next. Shayna Baszler clears off the announce table, ready for number 7 of Lana's trips through the announce position. This starts with Nia Jax dominating Lana. Lana gets a couple of shots in, but they don't really do anything. I think Nia Jax had an invisibility star before she came out because nothing's really touching the sides. Lana is painted very much as a sympathetic character. She keeps crawling back up to her feet. She won't give up. Nia Jax doesn't let her have a 3 count, just keeps pulling her back up. Eventually, Jax lands a Samoan drop for the 1-2-3. Her and Shayna head to the back and then remember, oh yeah, we were going to put her through the table, didn't we? That's what we were going to do. So they go back and drop her through the announce table, Samoan drop style, and that's the bit. It's a C. It was all right. It was what it was. Not a lot to it. I think we continue on this journey to make Lana a top babyface via the announce table. So onwards we go. The Hurt Business are in the VIP lounge. Lashley and Sami Zayn are going to face each other at Survivor Series, so they're focused on that. They're also focused on getting their reward for getting rid of Retribution. Aside, you didn't. and they want the reward in the form of gold, the Raw Tag Team Championships to be exact. Out come the New Day, some back and forth between the New Day and the Hurt Business. They loll about Bobby Lashley's bedroom prowess. Kofi puts over everybody in the Hurt Business and their accomplishments except for Cedric. Hurt Business say they're not about laughs, they're about hurting people and breaking people. New Day rocks, clap, clap, clap. And this leads to the New Day, Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston versus Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin. Non-title match straight away. Champs start strong, but Cedi and Shelty take the lead halfway through. Shelton Benjamin landing a beauty of a springboard knee onto Xavier Woods midway through this one. We see Kofi get the hot tag and start to fight back. Springboard Hurricane Rana from Kofi looked particularly excellent. The end of this comes with Kofi going for a dive out of the ring, but Shelton Benjamin flapjacking Kofi before he can reach the ropes. Shortly after this, Xavier Woods eats a neuralizer and a pay dirt for the 1, 2, 3. And the Hurt Business have pinned the Raw Tag Team Champions. This was a B for me. One of the better matches of the night tonight. A few missteps here and there. A few times I think Cedric Alexander in particular lost his place in the match a couple of times, but some real promise here. I feel like when they make this a tag title match, they will certainly go to town, because all four of these are great in there. This wasn't the full ticket. I think we're holding off on that until we get the tag title match. I'd hope so anyway. Nikki Cross trying to get through to Alexa Bliss backstage, but Bliss is completely just ignoring her. When Nikki Cross spins around, all you can see is the whites of Alexa Bliss's eyes, and Nikki just goes away looking all frightened and stuff. I think that's pretty much where we leave the Cross and Bliss thing. I wonder whether that's the end of that now, whether that's why, maybe that's where the divide is. We may not see those two as friends again. Leave the memories alone. In the ring, Ricochet faces Tucker next. Tucker has just tracksuit bottoms on by the looks of it. He's in there with Ricochet because Ricochet is unhappy with the way Tucker turned his back on his friend. Tucker doesn't get any entrance, by the way. He's already in the ring. As the match is about to get underway, Mustafa Ali makes his way to the ring, and he's watching while stood on the announce table. Tucker goes for an overhead suplex. Ricochet just about lands on his feet, lands a big kick, followed by the recoil. 1, 2, 3. In about a minute, Ricochet has defeated Tucker. Moments later, Retribution hit the ring. They beat up Ricochet. They beat up Tucker, and then they beat up Ricochet a little bit more. They seem very much to be focused on attacking Ricochet from here on in. So they all stand over Ricochet as the night draws to an end for them, and just the hand gesture and all that stuff. This, for me, was a C. The match really wasn't anything to write home about. It was pretty much a burial of Tucker here. I think Tucker's done. Sad to say. I think he might be. And then Retribution coming out. What a weird state of affairs with Retribution, because you've got the Hurt Business going, hey, well, we beat Retribution. That's that done. And then here they are again, and they've moved on to Ricochet instead. I'm all for trying to, revive Retribution, but it very much feels like the anarchic horse has already bolted here. Sheamus and Drew have a little moment backstage. Sheamus tries to recruit Drew for the Raw Survivor Series team. Drew says he can't because he's focused on Randy Orton right now, but they're still mates. I think this is Sheamus turning face. If him kicking Braun earlier wasn't, I think this is. I think Sheamus is face now. I think that's what we're doing. And this comes to our main event. It's The Miz and Morrison versus Drew McIntyre. Dirt sheet tag in and out quite frequently, but Drew's pretty dominant in this, to be fair, throwing them left, right, and centre. We get a few moments for Miz and Morrison to take the lead, but this is pretty much all Drew. At one point, Morrison's wearing him down in the corner, and Drew hits an overhead German superplex to get back in charge. Miz hits a skull-crushing finale at one point, gets a near fall off that. Drew recovers, ends up throwing Miz into Morrison, lands a future shock, lands a dive to the outside of the ring, and then a Claymore for the 1, 2, 3. Drew doesn't have much time to celebrate though, because there's Randy Orton with an RKO to take him all the way down. And as he stood there in the ring, the laughter of the Fiend can be heard. Let me in echoes across the Thunderdome. Fade out. That's how we end the show. B-, for our main events. It was fine. It was just there. I can't say it was better than I thought it would be. It wasn't the most exciting of main events, and it kind of felt like we ended Raw tonight the same way we ended it last week, with Randy and Drew mixing it up and the Fiend sort of hanging overhead. Overall, this week Raw is a C+. Some good bits in there, the triple threat and New Day and Hurt Business, best in-ring stuff, but a lot of stuff was just very middle of the road. We very much still feel like we're in autopilot at the moment with Monday Night Raw. A couple of fresh propositions in there, but a lot of the same stuff, really. I'm ready for some changes, and I think post-Survivor Series, we will get some big changes. Stay safe. Love you, bye.